As the 2.4 notes, complex numbers, page 4. Let's take a look at how complex numbers play into solutions for quadratic equations here. So, example 13, A, I don't have anything to factor. So I'm going to go ahead and move the 4 to the other side by subtracting both sides by 4. Now when I take the square root, keep in mind I have imposed that square root, so I need to consider the plus or the minus. We get x equals positive 2i or negative 2i. Remember, the plus or minus means we have two different solutions. B, let's see if we can factor. I got 3x and x. The only way I can multiply to get 5 is 5 and 1. So I'm working with either 15 or 5 and 3, which would give us a 2. But then one of the 5 or 1 would have to be positive, one would have to be negative, and these have to multiply to give us a positive 5. So they're either both positive or both negative. So this cannot be factored. So I'm going to go ahead and use the quadratic formula to solve. I am going to make sure I write everything out so I do not have to think very hard. I can just plug and chug. There is one thing I want to point out where we tend to make a mistake, and that is right here when we are squaring b. Keep in mind this is negative 2 quantity squared, which means that when we square that, we are going to get a positive number. That first term under the radical should never be negative. So we got a minus a negative 2, which is a positive 2, plus or minus the square root of 4 minus 60 all over 6. 2 plus or minus that square root of negative 56 all over 6. 56 is 4 times 14, negative 56 times negative 1. Plus or minus the square root of 4 is 2. I have that radical 14 left underneath. Square root of negative 1 is I all over 6. Oops, plus or minus. Here's my real part. Here's my imaginary part. And now I'm just going to reduce. 1/3 plus or minus square root of 14 over 3i. Keep in mind that is two separate complex numbers.